Hello student, today we will discuss Kronig-Penney model. It is one of the important topic in band theory. This explains the behavior of electron in a periodic potential. Here they have restricted the discussion to one dimension only. That means the ion core or lattice points are present only along the x-axis. On the basis of this, they have explained the classification of solids. So first, let us discuss what is periodic potential. The crystalline solids are consist of large number of lattice points which are arranged at regular interval, which is known as its periodicity. And the conduction electron can move freely throughout the lattice. So the positive ion core are present at the lattice site. So if you draw the figure, then these are the lattice site on which positive ion core are present. Let A is the periodicity. Here the electron is present. Let this is the position of the electron and this is the way along which it travels. So the potential energy felt by the electron near the positive ion core is 0 and it increases in between the two ion core, and after that it decreases continuously when it reaches the other ion side. So like this, when it moves from this position to this position, again the potential is 0 at the lattice point and it increases to maximum in between the two lattice point, then it is again decreases to 0. Since the arrangement of ion core at the lattice site is repetitive or uniform, so the potential that will act on the electron will also repeating. So this type of potential is called periodic potential. If A is the interatomic distance, we can write V of x equal to V of x plus A, where x is the distance of the electron from the ion core. This model is explained for one dimension, that is, the ionic cores are present only along x-axis. It is difficult to solve Schrodinger wave equation for varying potential. Here, if we redraw the potential, in the y-axis we have kept V of x and in the x-axis we have kept x. So if these are the lattice site, then the potential is 0 near the lattice site and it is maximum in between, then again it reduces to 0 at the lattice point. So like this, the potential is varies and it is very difficult to solve Schrodinger equation for this type of potential. So Kronig and Penney approximated this type of potential to this type. They have assumed that the potential is 0 near the lattice point and it is maximum in between, but it is constant, and again it is 0 when it reaches near the lattice point. By assuming this type of potential, they have reduced this varying potential to a combination of infinite potential well and a barrier, for which the solution of Schrodinger wave equations are known. So let A is the width of the barrier, let B is the width of the barrier and A is the width of the potential well, which is also the periodicity. So we can write the potential as V of x equal to 0 when x varies between 0 to A, and it is equal to V naught when x varies between minus B to 0, because the potential inside the infinite potential well is 0 and the potential at the barrier is V naught. Now let us divide these two situations into two regions. Region 1 for infinite potential well and region 2 for potential barrier. Now we will apply here the time independent Schrodinger wave equation because our potential depend only on x. So the form of Schrodinger wave equation is d square psi by dx square plus 2m by h cross square e minus b of x psi of x equal to 0. So for region 1, the Schrodinger wave equation is d square psi by dx square plus 2m e by h cross square psi of x equal to 0, where v of x equal to 0. And in the region 2, d square psi by dx square plus 2m by h cross square e minus v naught psi of x equal to 0, because v of x equal to v naught in region 2. Let us rewrite this equation 1 and 2. So d square psi by dx square plus alpha square psi equal to 0, means alpha square equal to 2me upon my h bar square. Now when we rewrite equation 2, then we have d square psi by dx square minus beta square psi of x equal to 0, where beta square equal to 2m by h cross square v naught minus e. Because we have taken here minus beta square, so I have written v naught minus e. Now we know that the potential is periodic here, so v of x equal to v of x plus a. So according to Bloch theorem, the wave function has to be periodic. So when a wave function is periodic, then we can write psi of x equal to ukx e to the power ikx. Ukx is the modulating factor, ikx is the phase. So for x plus a position, psi of x equal to uk x plus a e to the power ik x plus a, which can be written as psi of x e to the power ikx, because ukx is equal to ukx plus a because of the periodicity. Now if this, let this is equation 5. Now we will use this equation 5 along with the boundary conditions of psi of x with respect to x in equation 3 and 4. So using equation 5 and the boundary conditions of psi of x with respect to x in equation 3 and 4, we will get 4 equations which can be solved by solving a 4 by 4 determinant. The equations which we will get after solving the determinant is beta square minus alpha square by 2 alpha beta sine hyperbolic beta b sine alpha a plus cos hyperbolic beta b cos alpha a equal to cos k a plus b, which can be further solved by putting the value of alpha, beta and an assumption when v naught tends to infinity, b tends to 0, so v naught b is finite. So using this assumption in this equation reduces to p sine alpha a upon my alpha a plus cos alpha a equal to cos k. This is equation 6. This is one of the important equation of Kronig-Pennine model, where p equal to 4 pi square ma by h cross v naught b and alpha square equal to 2me by h cross square. P is known as the scattering power and v naught b is known as the barrier strength. In equation 6, the LHS is alpha dependent and RHS is k dependent, because equation 6 is what? We have P sine alpha a upon my alpha a plus cos alpha a equal to cos k. This is our equation 6. So in this equation 6, P is equal to this, which depends upon the strength of the barrier. And if we observe this equation carefully, then left side is dependent of alpha and right side is dependent of k, wave vector. And alpha again depend on E. So basically the LHS is E dependent and RHS is k dependent. So if we plot a curve between these two functions, then we will get this type of curve. This curve is plotted between p sine alpha a upon my alpha a plus cos alpha a with respect to alpha a. So since this is a combination of sine and cosine curve, so the shape of the curve will be somehow like this. But the RHS contains cos Ka and cos Ka value lies between plus 1 to minus 1. So the energy of the electron will be restricted between plus 1 to minus 1. So let us draw the conclusion from this curve. First conclusion is that since the RHS is a cosine term which varies between the limit minus 1 and plus 1, and hence the RHS also varies between these limit. Since the RHS is a cosine term which varies between the limit minus 1 to plus 1, hence LHS also varies between the same limit. This means that the energy is restricted between minus 1 to plus 1 only. So if we draw two lines plus 1 and minus 1 for cos Ka, then from here to here we have only the allowed energy for the electron. From here to here we have only the allowed region of the energy of the electron. From here to here we have only the allowed energy of the electron, and so on. So this is our second conclusion. Second conclusion is that if the energy of the electron lies between -1 to +1, then they are called the allowed energy band, and it is shown in the shaded portion of the curve. And the energy of the electron which lies beyond this two value -1 to +1, they are called the forbidden energy band, which are also shown by the shaded portion. Another thing can be observed here: if alpha A increases, the width of the allowed energy band increases, but the width of the forbidden energy band decreases. Thus, the motion of the electron in a periodic lattice is characterized by the bands of allowed and forbidden energy band. Now let us discuss two important cases when P tends to infinity. When your P tends to infinity, this is the case 1. So our equation 6 can be rewrite like this: cos alpha A plus P sin alpha A by alpha A equal to cos Ka. So divide alpha A by P. So first term is alpha A by P cos Ka plus sin alpha A plus cos Ka alpha A upon P. Since P tends to infinity, so 1 by P tends to 0. I have divided these two terms. So this is going to be 1. So you will get here an extra alpha A by P, and again also we will get here an alpha A by P. So when your P tends to infinity, 1 by P tends to 0. So the first term is 0. We will get sin alpha A equal to 0 because this is also 0. So sin alpha equal to 0 means that is equal to sin n pi. So alpha equal to n pi. So alpha equal to n pi by a. So alpha square equal to n square pi square by a square. Now putting the value of alpha square here, we have 2me upon h cross square equal to n square pi square by a square, implies E equal to n square pi square h bar square by 2ma square. So this is the energy possessed by the particle or electron when they are present or trapped inside a box or infinite potential well. So here, if we discuss this case, when your P tends to infinity, V naught B will also tend to infinity because P contains V naught B. If V naught B tends to infinity, then the width of the barrier is so large that the particle is trapped inside the well only. It cannot cross the barrier. So this is the case of the insulator, in which the particle is trapped in the valency band. It is not available in the conduction band for conduction of electron. So the forbidden gap is so large that it cannot cross the forbidden band energy to reach to the conduction band. So this is the case of the insulator. Now coming to case 2, when your P tends to 0, in equation 6, P tends to 0 means this term is 0. So cos alpha equal to cos Ka. So we can write here cos alpha equal to cos Ka. So alpha equal to Ka. So alpha equal to K. So that means alpha square equal to K square. So alpha square equal to 2me upon h bar square equal to K square. And K square is 4 pi square by lambda because K equal to 2 pi by lambda. So E equal to 4 pi square h bar square by 2m lambda square. H bar we know that h by 2 pi, and lambda we know that h by mp. By putting this value over here, we will get E equal to half mv square. So this is the energy possessed by the electron when your P tends to 0. When P tends to 0, V naught B tends to 0. That means no barrier, or the barrier is very thin. So in that case, the electron present inside the crystal will move freely through the barrier. So this is the case of the conductor, where large number of free electrons are available. So thus, by varying P from 0 to infinity, we find that the completely free electrons becomes completely bound to Brillouin zone. Hope the concept of Kronig-Penney model, concept behind Kronig-Penney model is clear by seeing this video. Thank you.